A sky-high celebration put off last year by the weather comes back in full force.
Are separate bathrooms a thing of the past?
In just a bit, Missouri veterans will be welcomed home from a trip to remember. KOMU8 News at 9 starts now.
Live from Studio 8A, coverage you can count on in high definition. This is KOMU8 News at 9.
Governor Jay Nixon continues to make decisions before July 14th's deadline to sign new bills into law. Good evening, I'm Brittany Pieper.
And I'm Jim Rake. Thanks for joining us today. The governor vetoed 2 bills relating to foreign ownership of agriculture. KOMU8's Jack Washer is here in the studio with the details.
Yeah, currently state law prohibits foreign businesses from owning agricultural land in Missouri. The 2 measures vetoed today would have allowed foreign ownership up to 1% of the total agriculture acreage. The director of the Department of Agriculture would need to approve any sale, transfer, or acquisition of any agricultural land. Nixon says legislature needs to study the issue more. Nixon said not only was this provision inserted into the bill without a public hearing, it was done so after the provision was rejected by at least one legislative committee on agriculture, as well as publicly opposed by leading Missouri agricultural groups. While vetoing those measures, Nixon also signed into law an omnibus agricultural bill that changes regulations on several topics, including farm loans and urban and agricultural zones.
Well, 2 days and counting. The 4th of July is Thursday.
Can't wait. KOMU8's Michelle Clemens shows us how Holt Summit celebration will be much different from last year's in this coverage from Callaway Report.
Amanda Collins and her family are like many other Holt Summit residents. They love fireworks.
I think fireworks displays are great, for families to get together and have a good time.
And after canceling its fireworks festival last year because of dry conditions, the city will be lighting up the sky once again. The city wasn't alone in last year's decision to cancel fireworks.
I know last summer it was really hot and dry and that they couldn't do the displays, which I think it was smart that they canceled it last year.
But without dry conditions this year, people are getting ready for the holiday.
It's definitely busier than last year just because we've had a lot more rain and there isn't any concerns about burning and all of that.
And that's making a difference in the economy. Nationally, Visa credit cards surveyed people and found 4th of July spending will be up 58% compared to last year, and 40% of the population plans on buying fireworks. The city of Holt Summit pays for a majority of its fireworks display.
Now this box of sparklers costs 58 cents. But what do fireworks celebrations cost the city?
$10,000 to $14,000 this year.
Officials say the budget is balanced, but they may need to look for more donations in the future if the city keeps growing. But Holt Summit residents like Collins say they don't mind.
I think it is something nice to do for the people of Holt Summit.
Michelle Clemens, KOMU8 News, Holt Summit.
The Holt Summit Fireworks Festival will take place tomorrow evening, July 3rd at Greenway Park. Events start at 5 o'clock and fireworks will begin about 9:30.
4th of July celebration began early for 70 Mid-Missouri veterans who are returning tonight from a one-day trip to Washington, D.C.
KOMU8's Maddie Glab is live where the public awaits the vets' arrival with more on Central Missouri Honor Flight number 23.
I'm here outside the Courtyard Marriott in Columbia, where veterans are just about an hour away from returning home. They left at 1:30 a.m. this morning. You can see all the flags lining the street. This is where the buses carrying the 70 veterans are going to drive down. They're going to turn into the Courtyard Marriott, where the vets will be welcomed by the public, volunteers, and family members. The heroes took a trip to tour the World War II Memorial, Korean War Memorial, Vietnam Memorial, Battle of Iwo Jima Memorial, and Arlington National Cemetery. Many volunteers were here during the day to set up for this big welcome back. They made decorations, they made welcome back signs, and also lots of volunteers actually took the flight with the veterans to ensure the veterans' safety. Many volunteers told me that they volunteer because they have loved ones who served, or they have people that they actually know are on the honor flight right now. Also, volunteers explained that some of them have actually taken the honor flight themselves. Many volunteers agreed their favorite part at the end of the day is seeing the vets' faces as they get off the buses.
And at the end of such a fantastic day, just to see them when they get off the bus and they're so proud and they're so happy, and you know that you've made somewhat of a feeling of closure for them for a part of their life.
When the veterans start their day, most of them don't even know each other, but a coordinator actually told me by the end of the day, all the vets are best friends. Reporting live in Columbia, Maddie Glab, KOMU 8 News.
A warning for boaters heading out for the holiday weekend. The Highway Patrol will be on in full force for Operation Dry Water. It actually started this past weekend. The patrol hosted 4 sobriety checkpoints at the Lake of the Ozarks, making a total of 29 arrests. Sergeant Paul Reinsch spoke about what this means for boaters this upcoming July 4th.
Well, we have a lot of people flocking to the Lake of the Ozarks this weekend for the 4th of July weekend, and particularly it's going to be very nice weather, so that's going to bring extra people in. So with that many people on the waterways, that many people on the highways, we're just asking people to show a little patience and obey all those traffic laws and obey the rules of the waterways as well.
This is the 5th year the state has played a role in Operation Dry Water, which is a national BWI awareness program.
A man is out of the hospital tonight after crashing his car into a home. The Columbia Fire Department says Arthur Evans failed to make a turn leading up to the intersection of Torrey Pines Drive and Vintage Drive and ran into the duplex in the 1100 block of Vintage. The car went through a brick wall and also took out a gas meter in the yard. Ameren shut off the gas and power in fear of a gas leak. Linda Alberry, who just moved in across the street, rushed to help before rescuers arrived.
I didn't really give it a second thought. I just did. I knew somebody had to be hurt. I just did. I think that's just your instinct, you know, to do something like that.
3 people inside the home were not hurt.
Downtown Columbia businesses now have the option of moving to family-assisted, gender-neutral restrooms. The Human Rights Commission met this afternoon to talk about a change in city code. It would allow single-stall bathrooms to be identified as family accessible to males or females. The Human Services Manager says this will help create a more diverse environment downtown.
The goal is to just inform the community that it is an option and what the benefits are to their customers and consumers by adopting family-assisted bathrooms where possible.
City has a $500 contract to change the signs if businesses don't do it on their own.
New numbers released today show the state treasurer's office gave back a record amount of unclaimed property to Missourians last year. State Treasurer Clint Zleifel returned nearly $40 million to more than 130,000 Missourians in fiscal year 2012, which ended earlier this week. Even with the record year, he says there is still more than $760 million in the state's unclaimed properties account. There are 64 accounts with more than $100,000. The Mid-Missouri region alone has $27.3 million in more than 300,000 accounts. Zweifel says the best way to find out if you have any unclaimed property is to go to showmemoney.com.
The Columbia City Council plans to create a task force looking at ways to curb violence. The council is considering a curfew for kids under the age of 17. 4 shootings during the month of June prompted discussion of ways to make the city safer. Not everyone believes a curfew is the way to go.
I don't think they need to do a curfew. I think they just need to let the kids know that they're blowing it for themselves.
They're going to do crime no matter what you say. I mean, if you think it's implementing a curfew is going to curb crime, I mean, you're just living out of reality. It's not going to happen.
I'm indifferent. I don't think that our city government has the right to tell kids when they can and can't be out, but from the same standpoint, there's no reason they need to be out so late.
The council hopes to establish a task force focused on gang activity and violence in the next month.
We've had some beautiful weather for the past few days. Let's see if it's going to last. KOMU 8's Tim Schmidt is here with your forecast. Tim?
Yeah, it was a very nice day today. We reached 81 degrees here in Columbia. Tomorrow I'll have a look at that and your July 4th forecast coming up in a moment.
A man on the run. What's at stake for the U.S. as Edward Snowden eludes capture?
Now, your live Doppler 8 First Alert weather.
Well, we had another very nice and enjoyable...
Tim, thank you very much. Security snitch Edward Snowden is still camped out at the Moscow airport tonight.
After the break, an update on the former NSA contractor's plans and threats.
NSA leaker Edward Snowden is running out of options.
And Egyptians pack into a crowded square as military deadline looms. KOMU8's Shay McAllister has those stories and more in tonight's Worldview.
NSA leaker Edward Snowden is running out of options for asylum this evening. According to WikiLeaks, the former NSA contractor has applied for asylum with 20 countries, including Venezuela and Bolivia. For now, he's stuck in a Russian airport without legal travel documents or a Russian visa. But Snowden is still threatening to release more material about U.S. spy tactics. U.S. officials are maintaining pressure on other countries to turn over the man wanted for espionage. Russia has demanded Snowden stop leaking damaging information if he wishes to stay in the country. More leaks could mean more fallout for the U.S. and its relations overseas. Protesters packed into Cairo's Tahrir Square as military deadline approaches. The Egyptian military has given 48-hour deadline for President Mohamed Morsi to reach an agreement with the opposition or face intervention in the crisis. The atmosphere in the square was festive as many opponents believe the ultimatum means Morsi is on his way out of power. But President Morsi still has his own backers. A huge crowd of Morsi supporters gathered in Egypt's second city, Alexandria, tonight. At least 11 people are reported dead after a suicide bomber attacked a coffee shop in Iraq today. The attack happened in a city about 30 miles northeast of Baghdad. No group has claimed responsibility yet, but suicide bombings are typically carried out by al-Qaeda's local affiliates. Security experts say al-Qaeda has regained strength in recent months. Some rare good news for the hard-hit economy in Spain. The summer tourist season has generated more jobs, and joblessness fell for the fourth straight month. In Valencia, a city that enjoys a big influx of tourists during the summer, many have returned to work for the first time after a grim winter. There are still lines outside the unemployment offices all over Spain, but for the lucky few that landed a summer job, things are definitely looking up, at least temporarily. And that's your look around the world tonight.
He was the best player in baseball and played for the Cardinals.
Tonight he's facing his former teammates for the first time.
Now from the Ford Sports Desk, KOMU 8 Sports with Chris Gervino.
Hello everyone, Albert Pujols is playing his first game against the Cards tonight in Anaheim from summer camp years ago in Texas. That's sports.
You don't see 1,000 free bowls of noodles very often. Kagawa, Japan is famous for its udon, which are thick, chewy noodles. The folks there traditionally eat it on July 2nd to celebrate the end of the rice planting season. I didn't know that. And they say the noodles are refreshing and delicious. Those that took part devoured the bowls in no time at all.
Now here's a look at what we're following for KOMU 8 News at 10. We'll have a live look as a group of veterans returning from the latest Missouri Honor Flight come home.
And a historic measure by the Kirksville City Council fails by just one vote. Tim?
And we're going to have a few showers kind of rolling through. I think they're all going to be done by midnight tonight. We'll stay partly cloudy. 58 will do it for a low. Heading into tomorrow, 80 degrees is going to do it for a high. Maybe a few showers and thunderstorms. Otherwise, the 4th of July is looking great. 83 and partly sunny.
Can't ask for much better than that.
I tell you what, it's going to be quite amazing.
Imagine those former Cardinals saying hello to their teammate that they used to